Hi, thank you for being here, Tracy. Before we start, I just want to make sure that you've agreed to be here and that you're agreed to share some of your medical information in this call. And for you
Yes.
to know that if at any point you ever decide that you don't want this to be public, you can tell me and I will remove it, no questions asked. So um, again, thank you for being here. And if we could start by you just telling us sort of where were you, what symptoms were you having, or where were you before we started working together? What are kind of like the main things that were going on?
I was on school and I ran across a comment by you, and I'm one of those, I stalk people. So I clicked your name and I looked at your profile, and somewhere in something you were talking about sleep and helping people with sleep. And probably in 2019, the fall, maybe late 2019, I stopped sleeping well. And I maybe when I was a teenager, I had a couple of bouts with insomnia, but pretty much not restful sleep, but I could sleep 8.5 hours, no problem. And I was not getting sleep. And initially, I think it started as, well, it was my job. I was working for a nonprofit and I was putting in crazy, crazy hours. And so I would stay up. And by the way, I am a night owl, like staying up late, but then being able to sleep in the morning was typically my pattern. And my life circumstances changed with kids running around and husband. And so staying up late, getting up early was no longer an option. So anyhow, I was staying up late for this job and trying to get everything done, but no longer had the option of sleeping in late. And it was cratering me, my health. I was sick all the time. It was impacting my relationships. And so I walked away from that job, but the sleep issues continued after that. And part of that was I walked away from my job and basically found out my mom was diagnosed with glioblastoma. And so that was going on, plus left my job that I loved. And so I just had this summer of all of these things happening. And so my sleep continued to suffer. And I think my guess is, and I don't know, you're the doctor, but my guess is with the years of not sleeping on purpose, trying to get things done or handling life, it then just, it totally messed up my system. And the health issues continued. And it was getting to the point where I felt like I was going to have serious medical issues if I didn't get things turned around. And I talked to, I'm a researcher too, by the way. Not only do I look at people and figure out, where they somebody I could collaborate with, but I also love to research. And so I was doing my research on how to help my own sleep. And so I was trying those things. I worked with a sleep coach or two, and it helped a little bit. But my life was not back to where I needed it to be. And so again, I saw what you said on school and I contacted you, and that's kind of it from there. My health was a wreck. I wasn't sleeping well, 0 to 2, maybe 4 hours, I think, when we first had our very first meeting. So truly my health, and again, I know you're probably going to ask me about this, but you and I are still working on righting that ship.
Yeah.
It is still, even though I'm getting more sleep, I think things have been so messed up in my body for so many years because initially of the lack of sleep. And now I think there's just other stuff going on that you are uncovering. So I'm grateful that I saw you. I'm grateful that we connected and we had our first talk. And I knew, you're probably going to ask me all these questions, but I knew I wanted to work with you. So that was it. My health was a mess. There you go.
Well, thank you. So really, thank you for sharing all that, and thank you for those kind words. So 0 to 4 0 to 2, maybe 4 hours was a good day, was a good night of sleep back then. How many years were you sleeping that little?
Well, since 19
So, yeah,
until
last
yeah.
year, end of last year,
Yeah.
which is 2020. Yeah, so that's like 6 years of no sleep. Yeah, and so let me move on because you did answer a few of my questions. What was the most, I guess, what surprised you the most, or what was the most unexpected thing that you think of the process so far that we've worked together?
I think for me, it has been that you are figuring out what else we need to fix, basically, what else we need to repair, because I'm seeing it just as sleep. And I'm thinking, okay, if I get my sleep fixed, which by the way, now I'm sleeping 6 is a bad night now.
Yeah, that's
right.
awesome. Yes.
So yeah. 6 is a bad night now. So, and let me go back. I say 0 to 2 into 4. There were some 6 nights, but not many. So that was like a woo, you know. But anyhow, so back to your question, I'm thinking it's all about sleep. I start getting sleep, my life is going to be sunshine and roses again. And I know one of the things I told you is that my nature is like, let's go, go, go.
Yeah.
And I've always been able to get a lot done, to the point where people say, like, how can you do it all? And I noticed my energy obviously was, I mean, it was just not there. And one of the things I said to you initially was, I want to get my energy back. I want to be myself again. I want to be that, cheerleader, let's go, let's get this done. And that was not there. And so I'm thinking I get sleep, everything returns to normal. And what I'm figuring out is that's just not the case. And so you have been the one who has helped uncover things and open my eyes to really some other things going on. So for me, I'm thinking it's about sleep. And what we're working on together is, no, it's turning into much more than just working on sleep, because you're figuring some things out that probably the lack of sleep caused or started this snowball effect. So I would say it's that. Just, I'm thinking it's sleep, and it's going way beyond that.
Yeah, one of the things, if you don't mind telling us a little bit about also, is sort of like the connection with your digestion, and maybe like sort of stress digestion to then maybe the sleep is sort of like the downstream process of because of what we did in the beginning was very much digestion based, right? Yeah. So what was going on with your digestion then?
Right. Yeah. So I'm thinking, because I'm just having, my chest just hurts all the time. And I'm starting to think, which is one of the reasons I contacted you. I'm thinking, okay, is it my heart? Have I put so much stress on my heart through this whole thing by not sleeping? What damage have I caused? And you and I started talking about what I ate, and you helped me figure out, again, like, I'm thinking it's one thing. And so you helped me figure out that I was eating a lot of the wrong foods. Specifically, I was eating nuts every day, because you hear that nuts are, have nuts every day. They're really good for your body. It's the good fat and all of the things. And so I like nuts. And so I was eating nuts every day. And you were like, no nuts. It was like,
or less nuts, just not the amount. I think. And the
right, but I went no nuts, and let me tell you. So I know I shared this story with you. My husband and I and our oldest son and his wife, we like to camp together. And by camp, I don't mean tent camping. I'm not that. I'm not that, but they are. So they were tent camping. So anyhow, we were on this hike, and it was hours we were away. Well, I happened to throw a bunch of snacks into my backpack. And my daughter-in-law does too. We both like load up with snacks and waters. So we're out, and we had some trail mix. She had some in her bag, and I was looking in my bag, and I was actually out. I didn't restock before we went out that day. So she gave me just a little bag of trail mix nuts. And so I ate it, and it was really good. But then, oh my gosh, that pain started again. And I thought, oh, Yeah, she knows what she's doing. She knows what she's talking about. And so
Yeah.
there have been several things like you took, for the most part, again, I can have it every once in a while. You took raw veggies away
Yeah.
because
Right.
you said they're really hard to digest. And I was like, oh my gosh, I like raw veggies is pretty much what I was eating. Raw veggies and nuts and a few other things.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, oh, she's taking everything I love away from me. But here's the deal, like, you know what you're doing. And so I figured out that, yeah, when I eat a lot of raw veggies, it doesn't digest well. At least how I am now. Maybe in the future, when everything is calmed down, maybe I'll go back, be able to go back to my nuts and raw veggies. But yeah, there were some correlations to, I'm thinking it's one thing, and you switch my diet, and all of a sudden this pain in my chest goes away. And I thought, okay, well, that's good news.
Yes.
That's good
Yeah.
news.
Yeah, the raw veggies is interesting because that's one of the few things, well, not few, there's a lot of things that overlap, but like it's something that I first learned in traditional Chinese medicine, and then like I kind of corroborated with, it is hard to digest, but traditional Chinese medicine is very big on like, do not eat raw veggies. Like raw vegetables are a garnish, or you can like ferment them and then add them as a garnish. They're not like a foundational food because they are very hard to digest. And if you're already having digestive issues, then removing them can make a big difference. But you can still eat veggies, just cook them.
Right, which I do. I do.
Yeah. And so I guess, I don't know if it's the same question, but how has this process been different from things that you've tried before?
One of my daughters calls me crunchy mom, granola mom, because I tend to not like our medicine here in the US. I figured out, I don't know at what point, but years
Yeah.
ago, I figured out as I watched people here, we're going to give you this medicine to handle this thing. Oh, but now this medicine has caused this. So now we're going to give you this medicine to help with this. Oh, but now this medicine has caused this.
Yeah.
And I watched that happen to actually several people. And I just thought, that's not what I want. Like, let's figure out what's going on in our bodies and then address whatever's going on in our bodies instead of just slapping Band-Aids on it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I already knew that I did not want to go down the path of going to just a regular medical doctor. And I don't know, what do we call it? Western medicine or something like that? Is that the term? I knew I did not want that. And there's only so many things that essential oils can do for you. And I was doing lavender at first, trying to sleep, by the way, and it helped for a minute. So that was another thing, is I would try something and it would help for just a short period of time. And then I would go right back to where I was. And so in a way, that was also slapping a Band-Aid on things. But I just knew that, and I don't know if I'm answering your question exactly, I knew that I did not want that path.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had been specifically looking for someone like you for a while, and not a long while, a short while, when I finally decided to do something, but for a while.
Yeah.
And found you. So I don't know that answered your question. I knew I did not want to do what Western medicine said. I had been trying the different things from my research, and I actually started taking a nighttime brew right before we met, and that had been helping me. And you made the comment, and it just played out with what I had gone through. You made the comment that those types of things help for a while, but then they don't. And that was my lived experience for several years, was I will try this, and oh, it's better. No, it's not now. And so my body, I think, would get used to things, and then I'd be right back to where I was. So that is why I wanted to work with you, because I knew you weren't going to be about, let's just slap a Band-Aid on it. So did that answer the question?
Yeah, it does actually. And it's sort of, no, it's a great point, because I was going to ask you, like, how many supplements were you on before you came to see me, and how many are you on now? Because I think this is really key of like, and it's not like about you, it's just like the idea of, oh, this supplement is going to help you sleep. This
Yes.
product, whether natural or pharmaceutical, is going to help you do, and some of them can, right? There's no, like, I didn't take you off of the night brew because it was helping you at that time, and I really wanted to start getting some sleep. But if that's all you do, eventually it won't work anymore because your body will get used to it, and you'll be back to it. So you got to work on both the foundation, and you can totally use, like, there's nothing wrong with using an external, so whether it's herbal, pharmaceutical, whatever it is, to help you bridge that gap so that you can improve your quality of life immediately with that while working on the foundations. So
yes. Yeah. So how many supplements was I on? Good grief. I don't know. And I think it goes back to all the research. You know, you hear eat nuts every day and eat your veggies and, you know, all these things. And so in the effort to have good health and try to get my body feeling better again, oh my goodness, I don't even know how many supplements. I don't even know how many I was taking, but it's like, and it wasn't all about sleep. It was a lot of it was like heart health, because I felt like I was having heart issues. And so I was doing a lot of different supplements, and I think it's kind of the same. I don't know if this is the point you're making, but those two were kind of like sticking a Band-Aid on it, but not really, because I felt like they were, you know, in theory, nourishing my whole body in a healthy way, in a natural way, because they're supplements. They're not synthetic chemicals I'm putting into my body. And so I don't know. You might have the count. I don't even know.
It was like probably like close to 10. And some of them were herbal, some of them were nutritional. And now I think, I know you're taking a few on your own, but you're probably taking like 3.
Yes.
Something like that. Plus the question of sleep, or if you're still taking that, I'm not sure. But actually, that you told me last time that the sleep brew, you're no longer taking every day.
Right. Yeah. I'm probably, although I've had it the last 3 nights, I'm not using it every day. And so, and that has been good. I do think it's losing its potency, its efficacy, or whatever the word is that we need to use. But I do think it's losing that. But I also don't want to have an aid to be able to get good sleep. And I know that's what you and I are trying to work on. I would love to have only the supplements that I need to take for my health. And I know that because of the tests you've done, I know that you've kind of narrowed down some that I need to be doing. So I would love, I mean, supplements are fine, right? Whatever I need to do, I'm going to do. But I really want to just get off as much as I can and just be as natural as I can.
Yeah. So what are the few things that you've changed? You've talked about diet already. You've removed a few foods. What are some other things that you've changed based on like the work that we've done together that you think have helped you, both with the sleep and I know you didn't really mention it too much, but you were having sort of like reflux, right, in the morning, like the burning throat.
Oh yes.
And panic attacks after meals also, right? Which are no longer happening right now. It was a little bit of a season. But like,
I totally forgot about that. See, I forgot about it because it's not happening anymore. But for years I had acid reflux and, you know, sleeping elevated and all the things. And I would eat, and a few hours after I would eat, I would almost have this panic feeling. And I think the diet that you moved me from and to definitely had an impact on that. And so I totally forgot about that, but that was a big issue in my life. Big issue. And so so that's not really happening anymore. And let's see what else. I had been using blue light glasses during the day anytime I was on my computer and or sometimes on my phone, because I knew that was a big thing. And you were like, no, the ones you're using, they help some, but they don't do the job, right? They don't do the job. Just those Amazon $10 ones. And what you showed me was at night, I needed to be wearing one set of glasses. And during the day, I needed to be wearing a different set of glasses. And pretty much I do that now. And I did know about red light before you because of the sleep coach I've been working with. He had me put on my phone at night a red filter, and I put some red light bulbs in strategic parts of the house. And so I was already doing that. But what you did was you reconfirmed that that was what I needed to be doing with the red light, dimming things, wearing the 2 different sets of glasses at the 2 different times of day. And so that was huge. I'd also already been going outside some because again, I'd done my research. I knew some things, but you really solidified that for me and opened my eyes to truly how important. And so you gave me the routine to go outside and what I needed to do at different times of the day and how long and you know, the grounding and all of the things. And so what you did was you really showed me, no, this is really the right path. And so now I go outside different times of the day, stay outside for as long as I can, and then come back in, weather permitting.
Always.
So that was another thing, was the glasses that you showed me that I needed. And you just really said, no, you need to be outside. And let's see what else, the diet. I'm probably forgetting stuff.
No, but that's the point. It wasn't a lot of stuff, right?
Well,
it was
yeah,
it was a lot.
True.
It was a lot when you come from, like, you know, when you compound, but it was a little bit of diet, because we removed. The reason it was a lot is because that was your main diet, but it's not like I made you go like full carnivore or like crazy, like you know, like it was like remove just those 2 or 3 things, and that I think are in your case causing some issues.
Yeah.
The light environment, and then some nervous system things, some sort of relaxation. Not really, I don't want to call it relaxation because it's not relaxation, but sort of bringing this parasympathetic back on, like getting back into a better nervous system to handle all the stress, because there was a lot of stress in your life happening. You know, not, you know, without giving any details, there was a lot. You were dealing with a lot of things that were external to you, and that was also affecting your sleep, your what did I call it? The hypervigilance, kind of like, and that's what kind of prevents you from sleeping, is like being hypervigilant. So we had to bring that back down. But it was not like, those were the 3 areas that we worked on. It wasn't like a giant list of supplements. It wasn't like an hour and a half long ritual in the morning, like that you need to do. Like it was like 15 minutes and a few sort of modifications that fit in your life. Yeah.
And I think the thing that I appreciated was you were not, you know, line drawn in the sand. This is, you have to follow this to an extreme level. You were always, I don't know if forgiving is the right word, like do your best, do what you can, right? If 1 minute outside is all you can do, 1 minute is better than nothing. Actually, you said 60 seconds, but that is one of the things you told me. So I tend to be a rule follower, although the older I get, I'm kind of straying from that a little bit, but I tend to be a rule follower. And so if you give me this list, I'm going to try my best. And when I don't meet whatever, not just you, but like I do this to myself. I give myself like 15 to-dos in a day and I don't get it done. And then I'm like, why didn't I get it done? So anyhow, I think that you gave me permission to not be perfect. And that helped me. And what I also didn't realize, you used the word hypervigilance, and oh my gosh, like that, light bulbs went off in that moment when we talked about my history and then what was going on, and you really opened my eyes up. And when you use that term hypervigilant, I was, yes, that described me to a T. And so that was another one of those things. I'm thinking it's about sleep, and you're just opening my eyes up to all these things that I didn't realize were intertwined.
Yeah. Thank you. Last question. What would you tell someone who has already tried everything, who is kind of stuck and dealing with some issue? What would you say to them?
I honestly, I would say you don't know what you don't know. And I've already tried sending someone to you, but they're of the mindset of, oh, I've already done all the research. And it's not about sleep, it's about something different. But I've already done all the research. And if I'm tired, one more person telling me to go stand in a corner with my arm in the air and, whatever. And so that person isn't getting it yet. And so I would say if you've done all the research and you've talked to other people, truly, there's probably underlying things that you don't even know about because you're thinking it's one thing, me, sleep, it's sleep. Oh, but now I figure out because of this hypervigilant state that I've been living in for a really long time, probably honestly, most of my life, diet, all these different things, it's all connected. And so you think you're looking at one piece of the puzzle or the piece of the puzzle, and you figure out it's just one piece of the puzzle.
Yeah.
And so that's what I would just say is if you think it's one thing and you've done your research and whatever else, I would honestly, I recommend Dr. Steinbaum so completely. So I would say, just have a conversation.
Yeah. Always welcome to have a conversation with me, or at the very least with someone else. Like go see someone that you think could help you, because there might be some issues. There might be something else connected to it that you haven't thought about. That's a great answer. Well, I think that's all the questions. Is there anything else you want to mention before I stop recording?
Here's my thing with you. One of the reasons that I knew that you were my person during that first conversation, like before you ever told me about whatever program, whatever we could do together, like I was already thinking, I hope I can do this because I want to do this. I already knew I wanted to. One of the things that I truly like about you is that you are so comfortable. You are so comfortable to talk to cry. I cry. I'm about to cry now, just talking about I'm about to cry. And so you were so comfortable. I cried in front of you. You just sat and listened. And it wasn't all about sleep. It was about all the stuff in my life. And so I would say you were my right fit because you are comfortable. Like, we don't live in the same place, but like I would go to lunch with you kind of a thing. Like you were that comfortable for me.
Thank you.
So that's what I would say. Just thank you for being warm. Thank you for genuinely caring about people. That's it.
Thank you. That's a great note to end this recording with. Thank you so much for ending the recording now. There we go.